If you also said that the numerator is half the size of the denominator, then you're also correct. So we do see that there are not only relationships between the fractions, but there's also relationships within the fraction between the numerator and the denominator. Okay, now we're going to look at some different ways to create or to make equivalent fractions. How did I just come up with all of those other equivalent fractions that lie between 1/2 and 5/10? Well, remember we did say that there are relationships between the two fractions. So we're going to try to figure out what that relationship is. Okay, so I'm going to take all this away so we can try to figure out some relationships. Now, first I'm going to do is going to pick two fractions, any of those two fractions that were up there, like 1/2 and 3/6. We already talked about how there are relationships between the two fractions. So, just looking at those numerators, what can you do to the number 1 to make it equal the number 3? What can you multiply 1 by? And it'll equal 3. If you said times 3, that's correct. 1 times 3 does equal 3. What about the denominators? What can you do to 2 to make it equal 6? Oh my, y'all are so smart. If you said times 3, you are correct. 2 times 3 does equal 6. So it looks like if I multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number, I made an equivalent fraction. Okay, well let's see if that works again. Let's try something else. Okay, two other fractions that I had up here were 2/4 and 4/8. So we're going to try and find the relationship, the process that helps us get from 2 to 4. In other words, what can you do to the number 2 to make it equal a 4? If you said times 2, you are correct because 2 times 2 does equal 4. So let's look at the bottom. What can I do to these denominators? What can I do to 4? What's the process that will help me get from 4 to 8? If you said times 2 again, you are correct because 4 times 2 does equal 8. So we had that to happen twice. We multiplied the numerator and the denominator by the same numbers and we made an equivalent fraction. It also happened the last time we did it, but the last time we multiplied times 3. So here's the rule. When you're making an equivalent fraction, you can multiply the numerator and denominator by the same number. And you'll create equivalent fractions. Now we're going to try something else. I'm going to use these same fractions, 2/4 and 4/8. Just going to change the order of them. Because regardless what order I put them in, if I put the 4/8 over here on this side and the 2/4 over here on this side, they're still equivalent no matter what order they're in. So now let's look at it this way. What process could I take to help me get from 4 to 2? What can I do to the 4 to make it equal to 2? If you're thinking to divide by 2, you're correct, because 4 divided by 2 is 2. How can I get from 8 to 4? Okay, y'all are catching on, because I know you're thinking to also divide by 2 as well, and that's correct. 8 divided by 2 is equal to 4. So, here's something else you can do. You can multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number to make an equivalent fraction, or you can also divide the numerator and denominator by the same number. And you will also make an equivalent fraction. All right. Okay, so we're going to take a break. I'm going to start part 3 of Schoolfusion video number 1, and we're going to practice taking improper fractions and changing them to mixed numbers, taking mixed numbers and changing them to improper fractions.